Giggly Gorilla Studios coming at you from the trees of the USS Enterprise. I'm not sure why they have trees here, but they do now. And with me today is not Everest because that guy just decided to stop showing up to work, stop co-hosting the show with me, evidently. We got Connor here.
Everest's kind of
Yeah,
busy, man. He's kind of busy.
yeah,
You know,
that's
he's
true.
got things to be doing, like not watching movies, and I don't know, calling him out. I'm calling him out. He should be here
Yeah.
right now.
He's like
You got,
studying and stuff. What the heck, man?
why would you do that? Why bother? What's the need for that?
Hey, come on, study up on your Star Trek, bro.
Yeah, you should be binging it for its 15th anniversary.
Exactly. Yeah, we
Uh,
haven't done too many episodes of the. We've only done one episode of the show since the last time you were on, though, Connor. So
oh
I mean,
really?
yeah, you're vying for like new co-host spot right now.
Oh, okay. What was your last one? The Godzilla one?
Oh, that was the other show that's so random that I do
Oh,
with
okay.
Andrew. Because yeah, Andrew's been showing
Oh,
up to
it was
work.
X-Men, was it?
That was also that so.
Oh,
No, our last episode was Drive Away Dolls.
oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, and we talked about some other Coen Brothers movies, but we're planning a Monkey Man and Jordan Peele episode, so we'll see if that
Oh, cool.
happens. Yeah,
I'm hyped for that movie.
I'm ready for it.
You're a studio now. Well done.
I'm a studio.
Yeah, you said this was Giggly Gorilla Studios.
Oh, yes. Do I not say that every time?
Congrats. I mean, maybe I just for some reason just clicked with me this time that you said studios. Like
Yes.
that's how'd you go about that? Like, as somebody who wants to be a studio themselves, how do you do that? How do you become a studio?
No, you can just kind of label yourself as a studio, and I think people
Oh,
will
okay.
buy it. Like
Nobody
all
looks into
those,
it.
all those reporters that say they're reporters, but they're actually just like
Oh yeah, yeah,
online nerds. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You
Like
just call
reporting to you
yourself
from my
something.
house, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. Well, I'm gonna start doing that. I'm just gonna start calling everything studio now.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you can just call your channel Exit Over Here Studios.
Hell yeah.
Makes it
Oh
sound more
no, my channel's called the
authentic,
Giggly Gorilla
legitimate.
Studios. No, exactly. Yeah. It's like it gives me this little weight that people might actually show up to the videos. Maybe.
Maybe.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna steal the Giggly Gorilla Studios. So that's my channel now.
But Paramount Studios
Thanks.
owns Star Trek, right?
Yeah, yeah. They got
How, I wonder how long
there's like a whole
Paramount's going to
thing.
be a thing.
It's
Paramount's going
like,
to get bought out soon, probably, right?
yeah, pretty probably. I think they're gonna merge with Showtime and then get bought out by like Universal or something like that.
Bro, it's
Um,
insane how many of these movie franchises we grew up with that are just merging. Like Warner
yeah,
Bros has merged with Discovery, Paramount's about to merge with something. Like even Warner Bros may not exist soon. Like Universal or
yeah.
someone bigger may buy them out. It's
Had
crazy.
like Fox as well getting bought out
Yeah,
by
Fox
Disney.
got bought by Disney. It's insane.
It's like it feels like there's so in the span of what 10 to 15 years, there's so many less just movie studios. Like everything's under one of the big banners.
Yeah, like is Legendary under another studio, or is it still its own thing?
I think it
Like
might be still at something.
like
So I haven't heard anything.
Legendary, Lionsgate, stuff like that.
Yeah, you got like
There's still some,
A24 as well.
yeah, there's still smaller studios out there, but
But the big ones are like getting bought up.
it's impressive what A24's done, honestly. Like they came in like this
Yeah,
day and
oh,
age
for
and
real.
have established themselves as an authentic, legitimate movie studio.
Yeah, it's like they've kind of gotten the fame now where people just see an A24 film and they kind of expect it to be good.
I
Like
expect it to
that's
be
pretty
like
great.
good, very deep, and probably weird. I still
Yeah,
remember the first time I saw Killing of a Sacred Deer, I had no idea it was A24. This is a film with Colin Farrell and Barry Keoghan.
yeah.
And once I saw the A24 logo pop up, I just paused it and like prepped myself because I knew I was in for something.
You're like,
It's
okay.
yeah, like A24 movies are those movies I have to be ready for. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't half-ass those movies. I know I have to be paying attention.
Same as like the way Blumhouse to me feels like if I see a Blumhouse logo at the start of a film, I know it's going to be a bad horror movie.
Most times,
Yeah.
are the new Scream movies Blumhouse or
Oh,
no?
are they?
I don't know. I don't remember. I know the new
Oh, I know where
Halloween
Paramount
movies
was.
were.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah, that
don't know if
makes
the new
sense.
Scream ones are or not, but I knew the new Halloween ones were. Which I like two of those movies. I fucking hated Halloween Ends.
I got to get through them, but there are so many, like a stupid
Um,
amount.
have you seen the original?
No, I haven't even seen that because it just when I like go into those horror franchises, I just get so overwhelmed by the 15 of them there sometimes is.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, watch the original. If you don't enjoy the original, I wouldn't recommend any of them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I hear is like that's one of the best ones. So if that's not doing it, like the bad ones aren't going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still my favorite horror movie of all time. So
Okay. I think
I
mine
think
might
a
be the
lot of
same.
that is just like the precedents it said, and like
Yeah.
what it did for the franchise as a whole. But and Michael Myers is just so iconic. I love him.
I was gonna say Halloween might be the most iconic horror film of all time.
Yeah,
Like in
because
terms of what it
like
established for everything else.
it kind of like skyrocketed like the entire slasher franchise, what it's known as today anyway. Because before that we
Yeah.
had Psycho and stuff like that, but it wasn't really like an entire genre or
Yeah,
subgenre
yeah.
to itself until Halloween.
And like films like Psycho would have been promoted more as like a Hitchcock film than a horror film, whereas Halloween
Yeah,
was probably like coming out as like this is a horror film.
it was called John Carpenter's Halloween though. So
Oh,
kudos
okay.
to
Well, maybe
kudos to
maybe they
him
used that to get off
because
the ground.
yeah, I think he might have signed a contract to where that like had to be in the name because he's like, this is my movie, bro.
Like, look, I don't care what you call it, as long as my name's on the front of it.
Exactly. Anyway, this is
Damn.
not about horror. This is not about Halloween. This is not about
Oh, what?
slasher movies.
Oh, it
Well, unless
was.
you want to consider Star Trek 2009 a slasher movie.
It is a slasher film. It slashed my heart
Slash my heart in many,
in
many ways. But its
many,
15th
many ways.
anniversary is coming up. It's next month. And
Yeah.
Connor, I think you may be the biggest Star Trek fan I know. So I had to get you on for this.
Oh, sweet. Got in there. That squeezed in.
If I never met you, I don't know if I would have checked this movie out or not. But you talk highly of the
Okay.
franchise, so I was like, I'll check these movies out. And I was surprised how much I got into Star Trek overall because I'm not a huge sci-fi guy. I
Sure,
never got
yeah.
into like Star Wars much or anything like that, so I never expected to get into Star Trek. But this movie was the first Star Trek movie I watched, and it really grabbed me.
I think it's they do a really, really, really good job at setting this up as a really good entrance point for people who like kind of want to get into the franchise but don't want to deal with all the TV shows, like the really hard sci-fi elements. Like this just feels like a really well-made film that happens to take place in space and happens to be Star Trek, but I think was a pretty smart idea.
Yeah, and like it doesn't even feel like a lot of it's in space because most of the movie takes place either on the Enterprise itself or it takes place on some alien planet or some of it takes
Yeah,
place on Earth, but I mean mostly just the beginning is on Earth because once Captain Kirk, well, not Captain yet, but once Kirk gets recruited, you don't really return to Earth too much.
yeah, you're gonna go Vulcan, and that's pretty much it.
Well,
And then the ice planet as well.
yeah, you go to Vulcan until Vulcan is no longer there anyway.
Yeah. Whoa, what? They blew up Vulcan?
Yeah,
That's
spoilers.
great.
This movie
Damn.
is 15 years
Yeah.
old, so I mean if you haven't seen it, that's your own fault.
Spoiler for a
I
15-year-old film.
yeah, I don't really expect anyone watching this video to have not seen this, so it's gonna be full spoilers.
Okay. Well, I better go watch it then, so I'll dip out. I haven't seen it yet.
Ah, man, okay. Well, we'll see you in 2.5 hours once you do see
All right, see
this.
you then. Yeah, it is a long film. Um,
That's
but
not
like,
too
yeah, I
long.
think it's I don't know. This is one of probably my favorite cinema experiences of all time because this is the first time I got to actually like see anything new from the franchise growing up. Because when I was growing up, like all the TV shows had already kind of been ended or cancelled, and all the movies had. The last movie came out in 2002, so this is the first one I was like, I get to see one, which was really fun.
Dang, Star Trek, the movies were almost dead for Star Trek as long as well, they've been dead longer from Beyond to now than
Yeah.
from Nemesis to '09. That's kind of
Well, we got
crazy.
one coming out this year.
It's
We
this
got
year?
yeah, Section 31 is later on this year, but that's a Paramount Plus like exclusive.
Okay. So they have announced one with this cast? Is that correct?
Yeah,
Or is it
there's a fourth and final one with this cast.
okay? I'm looking forward to that because I really like this cast.
I hope it gets made because they've been trying to make it for so long. Like they fully announced one a few years ago, and they said the entire cast was coming back, and then you had like Zachary Quinto and stuff like that coming out and being like, "We didn't agree to anything. Like, there's no contract signed. Nobody knows what's happening." Like they announced the film that we didn't even know existed until we saw the article.
Oh wow, that's insane.
Yeah. So I hope this one actually gets made because they've been talking about it for so long. But like they seem like they're good at pushing the stuff along there. Like we got two Paramount Plus exclusive films that they're making. We got a prequel film set in this universe getting made, and then we got the final one in this franchise, which is going to be hype.
So there's a final one in this set of films, but there's also a prequel to this set of films.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Where they're like, it's gonna sort of set up what happens, but I mean that messes with the continuity of the normal Trek stuff. So I'm not sure how they could do that because like this film kind of establishes that the timeline's the exact same until
Yeah.
Nero shows up and blows up the Kelvin. So I don't really know how much further back they can go from that unless they make like a prequel film about Chris Hemsworth. Captain Kirk, and
Yeah,
they
that's
have
the only
him,
way it
or
would
well, I
make
guess
sense
not
to
Captain.
me because they kind of, I mean, they showed everything
Yeah.
from his death to where we are and beyond, basically. So
And like even the stuff they kind of didn't touch on, there's a lot of deleted scenes out there for this film that like touch on a lot. Like, there's a lot of stuff of Kirk before he takes the car and drives away, like him in that house, that they just didn't put in the film. So like even the stuff that they didn't put in it, there's still stuff out there that kind of touches on that. So I don't really know how like what they could do to kind of make it work as a prequel, unless they like just go screw it and make it fully reboot and say that the timeline was different the whole time.
yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I
I'm hyped
guess
for it.
to get into this film, where should we start? Should we just start with Kirk, Spock? Those are definitely the two most important.
Yeah, which, in my opinion, one of the best castings of all time is this cast. I think they could not have nailed this cast better.
Oh, I agree. I just want to shout out Carl Urban's like
Oh, he's
American
so good.
accent so far because I cannot even tell that man's Australian in this movie. It's pretty crazy.
He's just so good as Bones, man. Like he might be the he might be one of the greatest castings I've ever seen in terms of a character who is played by another character, or like somebody who is played by another actor already, like coming in as a new version of that character. Like I think I can't think of another version of it that's better. Like genuinely.
Yeah, I just love Carl Urban as a whole. Like he is a. I was gonna watch Mortal Kombat 2 regardless, but once he got announced as Johnny Cage, it kind of completely sold me on that movie. I'm like,
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
ready for that movie just for Carl Urban.
Have you seen Dread?
I have seen Dread.
Oh, Dread is so good. He's so good in that.
He is. I love that movie.
I always forget he's in Thor Ragnarok until I rewatch it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's him.
Yeah, it's kind of like his most forgettable role, but
Yeah, for sure.
it's
For
more
sure.
of
I
how
do
he's
like his bit
written
though.
than his performance.
Yeah, I do like the bit though where he's got the two guns. He's like, I called them Des and Troy because when you put them together, they destroy. It's so
Yeah,
stupid, but funny.
ridiculous.
Yeah, best film though, I guess.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, no, I think he's fantastic.
definitely. I love his relationship with Kirk especially,
Yeah,
and how
and
he
like that they set that up as like a good kind of friendship thing.
yeah, he like infects him that just to get him on board the ship after Spock is like, "Yo, you can come on this mission."
Yeah, that's
He's
a
like,
really funny scene.
"You'll
Like
thank me
the film.
later."
The film is really good at kind of the intense and action moments, but I think it's kind of one of its more underrated areas is the comedy. Because like the way like Chris Pine does all that, where he's got like his hand getting big and he's like reacting to it, he's got the numb tongue and stuff like that. Like it's so funny. The way he plays it off is just great.
Yeah, and Carl Urban, he injects him twice, and he's like, both times Chris Pine's like, "Ah,
Yeah, yeah.
stop!"
Stop doing that. It's so funny. I also just love the bit where he tries to say Romulans. He's like Romulans, and Uhura's like, "What?" He's like Romulans.
You know,
I think
there's
this
a
movie like makes Uhura much bigger of a part of the overall cast than she ever was before.
yeah, I don't remember at all from like the movies I've seen before this, like Wrath of Khan and all the I think it's in Voyage Home. Voyage Home is
Yeah,
awesome.
it is. Yeah, I love it. Well, like in the movies and in the original show, it's like Kirk, Spock, and Bones are the kind of the mains, and then you got like Sulu, Chekhov, Uhura, and Scotty as kind of a little bit more in the background. They're there, but they're not as main.
I only ever knew Sulu because of like memes and stuff.
Yeah, he's in a lot of those. There's an episode of the original where he's like, there's a virus, and he's just running around naked with a sword trying to stab people.
What?
Yeah, that shows a bit wild.
Insane. I love that when Kirk gets recruited to the Enterprise by Pike, is that his name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Christopher Pike.
Captain Pike. He's like, your father was captain of a starship for 12 minutes. He saved 800 lives, including yours, your mother's and yours. I dare you
Dare
to
you
do
to do
better.
better. It's so good. It's so good.
It's
It's
so
like,
good.
which anyone out there really likes Pike. Watch Strange New Worlds because it's all
It's,
about Pike.
it's such a badass line too. Like your father was captain of a starship for 12 minutes. He saved 800 lives.
Yeah.
Like this dude was a badass, okay?
No, it's like it really kind of establishes how cool and how influential George Kirk was in this universe. Because in the original like Star Trek, he's just kind of like a whatever has been. Like you don't really hear about him really at all. But in this, it's like no, he was a straight up hero. Like he was legitimately one of the best. He was captain very briefly, and he was one of the best captains ever.
Yeah, I like how in a lot of ways this movie very much is a journey of Kirk becoming captain like his father because obviously he doesn't start as captain of the Enterprise. He
Yeah,
has to get there.
I'll work it up.
But it's crazy how it's Pike at first, he's captain, and then once he's off to the mission to uh, go confront, like, does he know it's Nero and the Romulans yet? I don't know. He goes to like
Does
discover
Pike know it's
whatever's.
Romulans?
Yeah, when
No,
he
Pike
goes
doesn't
there
know yet,
initially. Yeah, okay, that's what I
but he's
thought.
it's when Kirk like runs up to the bridge and starts like screaming about it being Romulans. Pike's like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah, so Romulans have they hadn't been discovered yet, had they? Like this is their first time being seen since
What
Nero time jumped.
since the Nero time jumped, yeah, because in the because at this point they were trying to still match continuity, I think, with the original stuff, and in the original stuff, the Romulans go to war with Earth 100 years before this movie, and then they're not seen again until like Kirk's captain of the Enterprise.
Yeah, okay, I gotcha. So they had been seen before, just not by like the generations of people that are
Yeah,
there.
exactly. It's
Everyone
like
that had
people
seen them are dead.
like today. Yeah, they're like maybe they're a myth, maybe they don't exist anymore, like they used to, but maybe they're not around anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
Which I like that. I
Romulans,
like that, like of having like a
they
species that's just completely hidden.
yeah, I like it too. And they really hate Vulcans and they hate Spock, and this is all for stuff that happened in the future.
Yeah, in the future, but also in a different timeline and in the past, and it's like X-Men, just convoluted.
Yeah, so they explain it. We kind of touched on it earlier, but Nero and the Romulans coming back basically branched off to an alternate timeline. Spock and Kirk and everyone's kind of discussing it, and Spock's like, "Well, we're not going to be able to predict anything that happens further because them coming back has in turn made an alternate reality."
Yeah,
And it's not very important to this movie itself, just I assume the overall lore of Star Trek and continuity of everything.
yeah, pretty much. It's like very much kind of just there to kind of say why things are different. Because I mean, like Star Trek fans wouldn't have loved if they just didn't address it and then acted like this is a complete reboot, because that kind of implies that the whole of their stuff was kind of wiped away. But like this movie does a really good job of going, no, it's not wiped away. It's still there. It still exists. Like we're just doing things differently now.
Yeah. Well, at this time, once Pike gets captured by Nero and the Romulans, before Pike goes, he promotes Spock to captain in his absence.
Yeah,
So Spock is the captain right now going forward. But something about Spock is he's obviously half Vulcan, he's half human, but he was offered a spot to join the Vulcan fleet at the beginning, but they pointed
yeah, the
out
Vulcan
like
Science Academy.
yeah, and they pointed out his mother's humanity as a weakness, and he's like, "Okay, fuck you
Yeah,
guys, I'm not joining."
I like that.
Well, he did it
Spock's
respectfully.
badass in this one.
Yeah, so he joined Starfleet basically because they said, "Yo, your mom being human, that kind of sucks, but you're cool,
But
so you can
whatever.
yeah." And the Romulans and Nero, they like I don't know how they formed the black hole. Is that from the red matter or the red matter
Yeah,
doesn't
so
really?
they shoot the red matter into what do they describe it as? Yeah, they got the red matter. They shoot it into something, and then it creates a black hole, which can like I don't know. It's a lot of sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, they shoot the red matter. Basically, they shoot the red matter. It forms a black hole, and that black hole devours all of Vulcan.
Yeah,
Spock, his father, and a few other Vulcans, including and Spock's mother, try to get them beamed out of there. Everyone gets beamed to the ship except for Spock's mother because like some debris falls off the cliff, whatever they're on, and she falls. So I guess she's too far away to get beamed. Like
I
they,
think it's like it's really hard to beam them when they're falling at like such a
yeah,
speed.
basically loses like signal
Yeah.
essentially because he's like, oh, I can't get her. What's the 17-year-old kid's name? Starts with a
Oh,
C.
Chekhov.
Chekhov. I don't know why I can never remember that.
Pavel Androviev Chekhov.
Yeah, Chekhov. He didn't have too much to do in this, but I liked him, and I liked how they displayed like his smarts because he's saying some
Yeah.
stuff like later on in the movie. This is like third act, so we're skipping ahead a little bit, but I just kind of want to touch on it because I don't know what else we're really going to say about Chekhov. He's just pointing out some stuff about like the game plan and like he's like Nero and the Romulans are going to go past Saturn and blah 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 blah, and they're like right, and Leonard's like, "How old are you, kid?" He's like 17. He's like, "Oh, 17." And then Spock walks in. He's like, "No, he's right." And
I
everyone
love
just
the
sits there in silence, like, "Oh,
I was like, okay. I love the reference to Voyage Home when like earlier on in the film when before they warp out and he's trying to say things, but the computer can't understand him because his accent's so thick. It's like in Voyage Home where he's kind of wandering around San Francisco asking for nuclear vessels, but like nobody knows what he's saying.
Oh yeah.
Nuclear vessels? Where
You
are the
know when he
nuclear
does the
vessels?
voice identification thing and it rejects it the first time and he has to
Yeah,
slow down?
so good.
Yeah, I was still wondering because obviously, like, some of his letters like sound different than an American saying it. I'm like, how does that voice authentication work though? Like, is it labored to just multiple languages? So
Yeah, so
so it
they got a
can
universal translator, so it can
yeah.
understand everybody, but I think it still relies on how thick an accent is.
Okay, that's fair. So he has to thin it down a little bit. He obviously can't
Yeah.
get rid of it, but well, apparently you can just get rid of an accent. Carl Urban is proof of that.
Carl Evans he's great at just doing anything. He can just like transform his vocal cords.
It's amazing. He'd probably be a great singer with
Yeah.
how much he can change his voice and his
Hopefully in The
pitch.
Boys season 4, they do a musical episode and he does it.
Oh, didn't they do a musical episode in season three? Or no, it
Yeah, they
wasn't a
had
full
where
musical episode, was it?
Kimiko was in the hospital.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of musical episodes.
You hyped for Joker too?
I mean, I'm ready for the story of it, but I'm not hyped that it's a musical.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But Nero, he has Pike hostage. He's from the future, like we said. He destroyed Vulcan because he witnessed the destruction of Romulus, his planet, and the death of his wife and his unborn child in the future. So he's like, yo, screw this. I'm going to come back and I'm going to prevent this genocide. So I'm going to blow up Vulcan. The Federation didn't help me. So I'm going to blow up all the Federation planets. All your planets are doomed, Federation. I hate you.
I hate you, I hate you, I hate you.
And he uses a Centaurian slug to get information from Pike. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
these things attach to your brainstem and they force you to say whatever I want you to. I'm like, dang, man, that's
This guy's
gross.
crazy. Yeah, it is pretty gross. It's like the thing from The Matrix. They put down like Neo's belly button or something.
Oh man, I couldn't do it. I would just start talking and be like, don't put that in my mouth.
Yeah, I'd be like, look, I'll say whatever you hell you want. No, just don't put that thing anywhere near me.
Kill that thing right now and I'll tell you
Yeah,
everything, I
like
promise.
burn it. Oh, that's the same as Wrath of Khan. It's the thing they kind of put inside Chekhov and the captain of the Reliance ears, and it sticks to them, and then just kind of makes them do whatever.
Oh yeah. It's so gross. And the noise it makes, it's like twilling. I'm like, ew.
Yeah,
So unappealing. Yeah, we already talked about the alternate timeline. So, not long after this, Spock and Kirk, well, Spock finds out Kirk's on the ship, obviously. He already knew because McCoy brought him on because he was sick, blah, blah, blah. But Spock basically just gets upset that Kirk's on the ship, so he's like, get off of this ship. And he sedates him or something. He does something that Kirk passes out, and they
yeah,
just put him on a pod. And they send him off. He lands on Delta Vega, and then Kirk gets chased by like this giant Demogorgon looking thing.
yeah,
But that's where he runs into Future Spock. He's saved by Future Spock. And he's like, yo, who are you? And Spock's just like, I am, and I always will be your friend. And he's like, whoa,
love,
hold up.
love
We
that.
are
We're
not
enemies.
friends.
We hate each other.
You hate me, bro.
I never like you. I hate you.
Yeah, so Spock says this version of Spock is 129 years from the future. And he says, in 129 years, a star explodes and it goes supernova, and that supernova is what obliterated Romulus. And then
Yeah,
Spock and Nero were both transported through a black hole. Nero was on the other side of the black hole for years, though, before Spock even came through, so Nero was just waiting for him, and he sent him to Delta Vega so he could observe the decimation of the Federation.
yeah.
I think all the stuff between with Future Spock here is super interesting. It might be the
I
most
love it. I would have
interesting
liked
stuff in
more
the
of it.
movie. Yeah, I really liked it because it explains like it further explains Nero's motives too,
Yeah,
and
like it
like
does a
it.
really good job of tying it all together.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything makes sense because Future Spock is in here.
They really wanted to get William Shatner for Into Darkness so that they could do kind of a similar thing, but have it be the future Kirk this time. And he was
Oh
just
yeah.
like not playing ball at all.
Oh, that was Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
yeah. It was him in the trilogy was well, I guess the first two were some of his last roles before he died.
Aw, rest in peace. That's
Rest
awesome
in
though. I'm
peace.
glad he came back.
Yeah,
I don't
just
know
hype.
how I didn't put that together. I guess
I
just
mean,
he was older.
what was the last film you saw? Voyage Home or Final Frontier?
Final Frontier.
Okay, yeah, well, I mean, Final Frontier was like 20 years before this, so it makes sense. Like, he looks a lot different.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wasn't really thinking about it too. Like, I was, well, a lot of franchises do legacy casting though, so it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just like bring him in a different role or something that kind of ties together.
Yeah, exactly.
But I
But
liked him in this. I thought he was great in this. Like the way they bring him in is such an interesting, inventive way because it doesn't feel like kind of stunt casting where you have him show up as I don't know. Like I feel like something like a DC film would do is have him show up, but he plays new Spock's dad or something like that. Or that this
oh
one here
yeah,
is like he's here, but he's actually just playing the normal Spock.
yeah, he's still playing his like it's basically still the same guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it is because the alternate timeline thing makes it kind of confusing. But technically, it is because like
Yeah, it's the same guy.
so after this, future Spock and Kirk find Scott Montgomery and inform him of his own learnings. Like they show him the equation, and they're like, "Yo, you know, you're the one that invented transport beaming, right?" And he's like, "Wait, what?" He's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, space is
Like,
the
hold on,
thing
I did
that's
that.
moving. I never thought about that."
I love that so much. Like, cause yeah, space is the thing that's moving. That's so cool.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm like, "Oh, okay." I don't know like the actual logistics of that. I know this isn't like actual
Yeah,
real science, but I mean, movie science wise, it makes sense to me.
yeah. Movie science wise, it clicks. Which I think like that's what movies should do. It's like not try to make things realistic, but make it make sense for an audience. And this made sense.
Especially when you're trying to make things that we are not aware of that actually exist in the real world
Yeah,
realistic. Like, don't make it realistic when we don't even know if it's a thing, because to a lot of people, it's not even fathomable.
yeah, exactly.
It's like the whole time travel thing, like how some movies try to over-explain that stuff. I'm like, bro, just give your own logic and stick with that logic instead of changing that logic halfway through the movie.
Yeah, like for all of his problems, I thought the Flash movie was pretty good at that. Like with the spaghetti scene.
Oh yeah. The spaghetti had a lot to do with everything. They're like, oh yeah, the
Yeah,
timeline's like spaghetti. It's just a tangle of webs and all this. I'm like, I mean, yeah, that
like
makes sense.
that's what I want more of. Is just I want films that dumb down scenes for me. Just like have it like things like that where to use kind of analogies and stuff.
Me too, because I hate it's well, obviously in theater you can't rewind, so you're just kind of like, oh, what are they talking
Yeah,
about? But like when you're at home, like there are some things that I get tripped up on sometimes, and I'm like, this feels important to the movie, so I'm just gonna rewind and like
yeah.
listen to it
I'm gonna
again.
rewatch that.
Then I'm like, yeah, I still don't understand.
It's like I still have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, but this movie does a pretty good job. I followed everything that was going on, whether it makes sense to our world or not. It doesn't have to. I mean, this is freaking Star Trek, bro.
Yeah, like
They're
it's the
already on
future,
alien
alternate
planets.
timelines, time travel. Like there's so much shit going on. Like
Yeah,
you don't have to be realistic. Just makes sense.
yeah, I'm watching this for a fun time, and that's what it is.
Yeah,
So Kirk and future Spock's final moment together, I thought was great. Spock basically informs Kirk that he must get his present self to express his emotionally vulnerable state, and Kirk's like, "Bro, Spock, you're not an emotional person." He's like, "Bro, I just lost my mother. I am extremely vulnerable right now."
yeah.
And then
Which I like that. I like that. Like they dig into that. That like because a lot of kind of non Star Trek things just assume Vulcans don't have emotions or whatever. But like no, they do. They're good at burying them.
also Spock's half human, so he's got that human side
Yeah,
to
it's
him.
got more than most.
Yeah, and just their final exchange before Kirk and Scott beam back to the Enterprise. He's like, coming back in time, changing history, that's cheating. And then Spock's just like, a trick I learned from an old friend. And then he does the live long and prosper. I love that.
I love that too.
I was like, oh yeah, yeah, because obviously, it's not just a thing in this movie. It's just a thing I even know about throughout Star Trek is Kirk like cheating the system like
Yeah,
it's a no-win situation, but he makes it into a
yeah. He
situation
doesn't
where he
believe in
can
no-win
win.
situations. The Kobayashi Maru thing, where he's like unbeatable, and he breaks it so that he
Yeah,
can win.
yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, so once they beam back to the Enterprise, Kirk basically just pisses Spock off by not cooperating and being a smartass. Then Spock attacks Kirk like he is pounding this man
Yeah,
to
he's
the
angry.
point. Yeah, to the point Kirk is bleeding, and he's like, "Okay, I need to calm down." He relinquish it, relinquishes, man, dude, his role as captain, And so Kirk becomes captain after this because Pike put him as first in command
Yeah, he
or
was like
second in
your first
command.
officer.
Yeah, first officer. I was about to say, I feel like it was first something, but first command makes no sense because that is the captain.
It was like, Kirk, I like you. You're the captain now.
I
Even
am the
though
captain
he's a
now.
cadet. I am the captain now.
Yeah, and then
That's
Spock says something interesting that I don't know a lot about. Maybe you can inform me more on this.
sure.
Romulans and Vulcans share a common ancestry. Is that something they go
Yeah.
more into?
So they were from the same planet, like thousands of years ago, and then there was a split, and the Romulans kind of went off to Romulus. Well, they never kind of they. I don't think anything ever confirms whether the original planet is Vulcan or the original planet is Romulus. But at one point, half the species split and went to the other planet. But like they go into it a lot. Like there's an episode Next Generation called Unification where Spock comes back and he sneaks on a Romulus to try and like start the reunification process between the species. And then Discovery is in the 32nd century, and they have a whole thing where they're dealing with how the species now live together. But yeah, they were the same species for a while, and they kind of like split off, and Romulans just kind of never sort of buried their emotions. Well, that's all what Vulcans came about.
Okay, so it's almost like it's like how, everyone on Earth, we're all humans, but there are different cultures. They're basically like the
Yeah,
same
exactly.
species. They have
Do
cultural
things differently.
similarities, but once they split, there are differences between the two.
Yeah, pretty much exactly like that.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not like the difference isn't night and day like between. Well, I mean, it's not even night and day between like Vulcans and humans. Really, all that's different are their ears and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, interesting. I never knew that. But Spock obviously is pointing it out because he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna be the one to get on the ship because we got a common ancestry. Our cultural similarity is gonna be easier for me to infiltrate than anyone else." And he's like, "Since my mother was human, Earth is the only one I have left, so I'm fighting for this." I like that.
hell yeah, Spock. Hell yeah.
I really like
Well,
Spock in this movie. I think they make this movie as much Spock's movie as they do Kirk's movie. I think there's a very good balance there.
for sure. Which I think like the originals did that as well. Like I think Wrath of
Yeah,
Khan feels like both their films. Like you got Kirk coming in out of retirement, kind of ways an admiral now, and then you got Spock who's captain of the Enterprise. Like they do some really good kind of back and forth between them back then, which is kind of feels like a similar dynamic now.
yeah, for sure. And then we kind of go into the third act, the final battle, and a lot of this is just fight scenes. It starts off with Nero versus Kirk, and I like Nero's line to Kirk like before the battle fully like ensues. He's like, "I know your face from Earth's history." That's pretty badass.
Yeah, I love that. It reminds me of like the thing that Thawne did to Oliver in that episode of The Flash, where he's like, "I know your face up, Mr. Queen. You live to be what he's like 76 years old. Guess the history books were wrong."
And they were wrong.
Yeah, they were wrong. And like it reminded me of that here, where it's like, I
Yeah, I
know your
remember that
faith.
line. Like, I don't know the last time I saw season one of The Flash, and I remember that line.
It's so iconic.
Oh, it's so good. I wonder if they were inspired by this at all.
Oh, maybe. I never thought about that.
Yeah, this
There's
was.
definitely a scene from something that like the scene in here where Kirk gets off the bike and the guy's like, nice ride. And he goes, "You like it? It's yours." And he tosses him the keys. I have 100% seen that exact scene in something else, and I can't remember what it is I've seen it in.
I
But it's
watched this recently. It is the original Roadhouse.
oh, okay. There
It's
you
with a
go then.
car, not a bike, though.
Yeah, okay, because it's in Smallville as well, in like the season 3 premiere. It's like he gets
Yeah,
out of his
I,
car and he's like, "You like it? It's yours."
I think it's Roadhouse. I haven't seen anything where it happens before that. Roadhouse was
Okay,
1989, I
80s.
think. But yeah,
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze just pulls up in his car and he throws the keys to what I presume is a homeless guy or something. He's just kind of chilling on a bench. He's like, "Yo, look like the valet to you." And he's like, "Not yours." He's like, "What?"
Okay, I'm gonna guess that they copied Roadhouse then for that.
Yeah. No, I will say, I watched the original Roadhouse after I watched the remake because I wanted to see how it was as a remake. They change a lot.
Oh yeah,
And
I need to watch both.
I think the original's better.
I hear that a lot. I hear the original's great.
Like just as a remake, I don't like the new one. Like as a movie itself, it might be fine, but as a Roadhouse remake, I don't see what they were doing. Because
There's
like
not a lot in common kind of thing.
no, like no, not at all. It's like literally the character name is basically all that's there. Like
Yeah,
the where it's said is different. The backstory of Dalton is different. besides the fact that he killed a guy. That's literally all that's the same. The way it happened, how it happened, what he was doing when it happened, all that's different. Where it took place.
I feel like
So
a
I
lot
was
of
like,
movies kind of do that, where they like for the new remakes, especially with IPs that, or I guess just old movies that aren't as popular, they kind of they copy the character's name and that's sort of it.
it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Like it confuses me on like what their audience is because like what's the point of remaking the movie if you're not targeting the people that like the original?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you kind of want their audience because if it's a good film, you're gonna get new people anyway. So
Yeah.
like, just make copy the remake, but like make it good, and you'll get both audiences.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can definitely see parallels between the two, but as far as like actual plot elements and such go, it's totally different. It feels totally different at least.
Kind of like a
But anyway,
stretch to be like, hey, this is the same thing.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. If you ever watch both, you'll maybe know what I'm
I
talking
am
about.
going to, yeah. But also, I hate Conor McGregor so much. Like,
I
is he a big part of the new one?
yeah.
Oh,
He's
I'll still watch
he
it at some
doesn't
point.
show up until like halfway through, but once he comes in, he's in a lot.
Okay, I'll just
I
watch for
I
the
don't
sake.
love him either. I don't love him as an actor.
Yeah, he's definitely like, I don't know. I think at least when WWE actors kind of cross over, they already know how to act because there's a
Yeah.
lot of that in WWE. But with straight up UFC sort of things, acting isn't a big part of it.
Yeah,
Like you're putting on a performance anyway, but
he felt way too over the top to me. Like it felt like he didn't know when to dial it back.
yeah, okay, that doesn't sound great.
Yeah, no, it's it's kind of watch it drunk or something. It might be funny to you.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, well, that was a free spoiler-free review of the new Roadhouse. I'd recommend the original over the
So what's
remake.
that? We've reviewed what Roadhouse, kind of Halloween.
It kind of
Uh,
Halloween, kind of the
yeah,
Halloween franchise. If you don't like the first one, you won't like it. Halloween Ends sucks. Oh, yeah, we talked about the Star Trek 2009.
yeah, that was in there.
Yeah,
Just
well,
cause this is like random movie reviews.
yeah, I guess we're still talking about the end of '09, but yeah, Kirk. Eventually, Kirk, they're fighting, but eventually Nero's attention gets directed towards Spock, so he kind of leaves Kirk be, and then whoever that Romulan was, like just watching their fight apparently, because literally Nero leaves, and then that dude just steps up, and Kirk's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay." And then that Romulan's got Kirk by the throat, and he's like, "Oh, your species is so weak." And he's like, "Oh, you can't even speak." And then he kind of like
I
releases
got
his
your
grip or
gun.
whatever. Yeah, I got your gun. And
I love that.
shoots him. Yeah, it was great.
Such a good scene.
Yeah, then the red matter erupts and it causes a singularity. Nero and the rest of the Romulans are too close to that singularity, so Kirk offers Nero and his army some assistance. And Spock's like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And Kirk's like, "I'm showing compassion, and maybe the only way to make peace with Romulus." It's logic, Spock. I thought you liked that. And he's like, "No, not this time."
I love that scene so much because it's like it's exactly what the Federation would do. It's like notice they're in distress, offer assistance, but like once it's clear that they're still kind of going to be assholes, it's like all right, well, we're not helping you anymore. Like you offer the assistance when you can, but when it's clear they don't want it, you're like okay, fine. Like you don't push for it, which I really like that they kept that in for this because it's something like the TV shows really do. Like Deep Space Nine is great at that, where you'll have Cisco kind of being like, "You need help," and when they're like, "No," and being dicks about it, he's like, "All right, well, we'll just help you die then, I guess."
Yeah, and I feel like the loss of Spock's mother, like that's one of the few things you can do to get Spock like as angry as he was in this movie. Like he
Yeah,
he did not want to show any remorse.
like you want to make it realistic for why he's like that, which I really like as well. Because like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't
Like
I don't
anyone
think
can
they ever
see
do
where he's
really
coming from.
emotions like that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's that never happens in the old stuff really at all. Like where he loses his parents like that. Like Sarek, his dad dies, but he's not around when that happens. So it's cool to kind of get a version of Spock here where he's like right there when he loses a parent.
Yeah, it's like his mom literally dies in front of him and his father.
Yeah,
And
that's a lot.
like yeah, the last time Spock sees her, he's literally reaching out for her to save
Yeah.
her. That's heartbreaking.
Also, Winona Ryder as Amanda Grayson is an insane casting.
Winona Ryder is just awesome in everything.
Yeah,
I cannot wait for Beetlejuice 2. Cannot wait.
I should probably watch it.
You
The
should
original.
watch the original. I enjoy it. Apparently, So this new one, I haven't seen William Dafoe in the trailers, but I've seen him on the cast list. Like Michael Keaton, William Dafoe are two of my probably top five actors ever.
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
more than excited for this movie.
Is he supposed to be playing somebody big in it, or is it just kind of like a small role?
I'm not sure because when I looked, like it's been a minute since I actually looked at the cast list. I looked a few months ago though, and it only listed like five or six people, and he was one of them. So
Oh, damn, okay.
I hope he's a big role.
Yeah, if they cast him like when they only had 5 or 6 people, that's probably good. Like for
And
how big he is in it.
yeah, kind of open. Well, I don't know if would that timeline sync up. I'm almost hoping Beetlejuice, and some other stuff he was doing, or the reasons he couldn't return for Aquaman 2, but I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, fair. I forgot he wasn't in that. He's like the only person who didn't come back for that
Yeah, he's
out
like
of everyone.
literally the only character that didn't return.
That's wild. He was like, yeah, no thanks. Maybe just all the water stuff and the effects and the suits and that. He was like, no,
Yeah,
like
maybe.
this is
He's
too
like, I
much
don't got
effort.
time for that.
Yeah,
I'll just go do
because I
this
can't
for.
imagine those are fun shoots. Like same as like the Pirates of the Caribbean films. I can't imagine they are fun shoots with all that war.
Yeah, probably not. Like anything you gotta put like a lot of makeup or a lot of costume on, that probably not fun.
Yeah, like at least a Green Goblin, he just kind of got the suit. Like there's not really much else he's got to do.
I still don't understand the 2000 like Spider-Man 2002 choice for that suit. It's so stupid.
His the bit where the he just goes, "Oh," is just one of the weirdest cuts I've ever seen ever. But it's
Oh,
great.
before he dies.
Yeah,
Dude, every time someone says Godspeed, I cannot help but think of William Dafoe as Green Goblin saying, Godspeed, Spider-Man.
that's Pete Spider-Man. That's those films. They are so cheesy and cringy, but they're the most quotable things ever.
Hey,
It's
we're doing a
legitimately great.
15th anniversary for Star Trek 2009 right now. I will be doing a 20th anniversary for Spider-Man 2. You better believe it.
Oh hell yeah! Is that this year? 2004? Yeah, 2004,
Yeah,
2024.
this year, man. Still my favorite Spider-Man movie to date.
It's up there for me. I think
I
it might
don't
be
know
like
if it would be my
third
favorite if
for
I
me.
didn't grow up with it.
Yeah, that's fair. When you're
Because
doing a 12th anniversary Amazing Spartan, wait, no,
yeah,
yeah, it's
it'd
10th
be 12.
anniversary for Amazing
Oh,
Spider-Man 2.
oh, you want to do it? You're
I'm
invited if
down.
you want to. That's the only way I'm going to
Hell
talk
yeah.
about it because I know we have differing opinions on this
Yeah, we
movie.
got very differing opinions
I
on
want
it.
to get someone on that actually kind of likes this movie. So
I
if we
love
do
that
it,
film.
if we do it, I'm getting you.
I think it's legitimately fantastic.
That's coming up too. Isn't that next month also?
Yeah, it would be May as well, I
Oh
think,
my
wouldn't it?
God. Okay, Connor, we'll have to have you
I'm
on
down for that.
we'll have to
Hell
have you
yeah.
on in a couple weeks.
And
Okay.
I'll talk about all the things I love in that film, like the bit where Peter's parents are spies and
Oh my
trying
God,
to
and they're
find
not
something with them.
actually dead? He finds like
Yeah,
their lair in like a subway station. I don't even know what's going on. Oh man, I can't wait to rewatch it. I don't think I've seen this movie
same, yeah.
since 2014.
I rewatched it not even that long ago. I think rewatched it late last year
And you still
when I
like
saw
it.
it before No Way Home. I love it because I
Oh
watched it
my
before No Way Home and I was like, this is so
Connor,
good.
it's
And I
settled.
watched
We
it
are
late last
doing
year.
this.
Hell yeah.
But okay,
It's a good
let's
film. It's just the way they handle everything is great.
okay, no, I cannot wait to have this conversation with you. It's gonna be a lot more back and forth than this one because we just agree on Star Trek 2009. It's a great
Yeah,
movie.
pretty much.
But the end is just future Spock talking to Spock, and he's like, "Yo," future Spock's like, "Yo, Spock, I couldn't just show myself to you earlier and tell you all this stuff because you needed to recognize the importance of yours and Kirk's friendship, what you can do together." And I'm like, "Yo, look at Leonard Nimoy schooling
Giving off the
Zachary
knowledge,
Quinto."
passing on
Uh,
the baton. I like it a lot.
yeah. Then they have a little ceremony gathering thing, I guess, for Kirk, and it ends after that.
Right, fun fact. Did you know that they were trying to make this movie since the 1960s?
Really? Wait, what?
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
does
they
that? What? How does that make
this new
sense?
so they really, really, really want after the original series got cancelled, they really, really, really wanted to do a prequel film that was about the cast in Starfleet Academy, and then everyone was like, "No way," because you'll have to recast everybody, and nobody wants to see new people play these guys. So they put it on a shelf. Then in the 1980s, after Voyage Home, they were like, "Will we do that Starfleet Academy film now?" They're like, "No way." So then after Final Frontier, they they were like split between doing Undiscovered Country or a Starfleet Academy film, and it was really close to this one. And then they were like, They gave up on that as well and just did Undiscovered Country. And then in 2004, 2005, they wrote a script called Star Trek: The Beginning, and then that's what this ended up being.
Wait,
So
so
yeah,
is this
that was like
is it?
40 years.
I'm still kind of confused about the timeline. Is this the first movie that takes place chronologically?
Yeah, movie wise, yeah,
Okay, I mean that makes Leonard Nimoy being Spock even better though, because he's like, yo, I'm 129 years from the future, and that
yeah.
makes that. I'm pretty sure timeline wise that probably checks out.
Because yeah, you got like this in the late 2250s. Then the first movie motion picture is like 2274, I think, and then Wrath of Khan is 2280s, and they stay in the 2280s until Generations, which is the 24th century.
So I mean, I like that. I like that amongst fans the timeline even checks out. Like I'm very
Yeah,
casual, so I don't think too much of it, but that's awesome.
because yeah, like they even kind of because Kirk in this is way different to the old stuff, but they kind of make sense for why he is. Because like the death of his father meant he never really pushed to join Starfleet. So by the time he becomes captain here, it's before he would have became captain in the original stuff. But they make it make sense still, like match out timeline wise, because he joined Starfleet Academy later anyway. So it still works out around the same time. Which like they didn't have to do that. They really could have just said whatever and made the timeline not make sense. But now they went to the effort of like trying to make it work, which I really respect. Like I think, well, it's super different to most Star Trek stuff. Like I think there's legitimate kind of care put into this
I was about to
that
say
a lot of franchises don't do.
details like that you can kind of tell like fans are making it, people that actually care about the
Yeah,
source material of it all and want to be true to that.
yeah, exactly. Because it's like I don't know. I'm trying to think of something where that doesn't get. I guess Roadhouse, where they don't care. They just change a few names and are like, "Yep, it's a remake."
Yeah, no, I respect it though. Like they obviously cared and they care about their fan base, like what they're gonna see and take in.
Yeah, for sure. Um, also, a little bit where Scotty's like, he Archer's prize beagle never came back in the when they're on Delta Vega when they're talking about how he did a little transport experiment on an admiral's beagle and it just disappeared.
Oh yeah.
That's from Star Trek Enterprise, the TV show. That's the captain
Oh.
from that. He's the
Oh.
coolest captain ever.
Who was the little guy with Montgomery?
Oh yeah, he's
Oh
a new character. I don't know who he is.
man, I felt
Is-
why were they giving him such a hard time, man? I felt so bad for that guy. I'm like, bro,
that
he's
guy
not even
was
doing anything.
he was trying to hang out.
I'm like,
It's
bro,
the end of this film where he's like sitting up on top of the warp core or something, and this guy's like, "Get down!" Or
I
is
know.
that the end of Into Darkness?
I think it's like the end of the second act of this movie.
Okay, yeah.
It's right before they warp back to the Enterprise.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and he's like,
Because yeah,
"Get
he's just sitting
down,"
up
and
there. He's
then
like, "Get down."
then Kirk just kind of you know grabs him and helps him down.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, why are you telling? He's just chilling. Like he hasn't
He's just
done
hanging
anything.
out.
And he's just
Leave him
like, yeah,
alone.
you don't do anything. All you got to eat is a bean, and you're done. Actual food. I'm like, okay, bro, he doesn't eat any of
He's
your
a being
food.
you're done.
Okay, how's
I
he
love
more?
that.
He's not doing anything to you, man. I feel so bad for that little guy.
So did you say is your favorite movie then of all the ones you've seen?
Of all the Star Trek movies I've
Yeah.
seen, this is
Oh no, Voyage Home's your
my
favorite, isn't it?
Voyage Home is my favorite. This is my
Yeah,
second
okay.
favorite.
That was pretty valid. I think this is I think I liked Into Darkness more than this one. I love this one. Into Darkness is like a borderline perfect film, I think.
I mean, I think this movie has like more depth than Voyage Home does, but I think Voyage Home is just such a fun movie. I love it.
It's great. Which like I think Voyage Home is just great because it's such a it is just a non Star Trek film. It's like it just feels like a fun 80s kind of fish
Bro,
out of
and
water film.
yeah, when Spock is in the tank with the wells and the like marine biologist looks back, and then they're
Yeah.
walking like outside and she's asking Kirk, "What was your friend doing in the well tank?" He's like, "Oh, he's on a lot of LSD."
Love
She's
it so much. Like I think that film just works for anybody. Like you don't need to be a fan of the franchise to kind of enjoy that film.
it's not a comedy, but it might be one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I love it.
The bit on the
Just
bus with
the
the guy with the giant boombox.
Oh yeah. Yeah, dude. Just like everyone's perception to them too, like when they're out and about just on Earth, they're like, what? Everyone's just looking at everyone, all the members of the Enterprise and like, what are these guys wearing? Like, what are they doing?
Scotty when he goes into the tech place and he picks up the mouse and he's like, "Hello, computer."
Oh,
Like
I'm gonna have to
speaking in the
rewatch this movie. I'm gonna have to I think I'm gonna if I oh man, I'm about to get on my Star Trek kick again. I might rewatch Voyage Home and then
Hell yeah.
finally rewatch then not rewatch, finally watch New Country or Undiscovered Country. because
You should, because
that's where it stopped. I'm not gonna watch Final Frontier again though. Fuck that.
no, yeah, I don't blame you for not doing that. I think
It's
what
kind of
anniversary is it from Discovery Country? It was 91, so it's like 23 years.
yeah.
Damn.
Wait, or 33 years.
Oh,
Oh my
how much?
God, dude. Batman 1989 turns 35 this year. That's crazy.
35. Damn,
Oh my God.
that movie's been around for a minute. So you're gonna rewatch the Flash movie to celebrate the anniversary, right?
Oh man. You know, I've
Repeat the
technically
scenes.
already talked about on the shows on the other show I've talked about Batman 89 and Batman Returns before. On this show we talked about the Flash.
Yeah.
But it's been 4 years since we talked about Batman '89, so I think with as big of a Batman fan as I am, I can make an excuse to talk about it
No,
again.
absolutely.
I'm
Every
sure if we
4 years
get
is like pretty reasonable.
yeah, and I haven't talked about it with Ever, so if I can get him on this fuck show, we can do it for this show because we did it for the other show last time. So
Just ask him
yeah,
to drop out of college so that he can make time for these things.
well, it is in the summer, so he'll be out of school.
Battery.
Yeah, you better not go to
Do
summer school, Everest.
they do that for college over there?
I don't know if college. I don't think college. Well, I mean, I think if you want to take classes in summer, you can, but like the typical summer school, like it is like in grade school and like high school and everything. No, like if you
Yeah.
fail, you're just gonna repeat the semester. Or well, you don't fail like per semester in college. You fail per class. So if you fail the class, just retake the class.
Yeah, that's the same here. It's like I think if you fail more than two classes, you have to repeat the whole semester. But if you fail like one or two classes, you can repeat those classes.
See, here it's like you have a certain amount of time to drop the class. Like if you know you're going to fail, you can take
Oh whoa!
it's called a W instead of an F. It's W because you
Oh, for
withdrew.
a win because you
Yeah,
won.
yeah. I did that with history because I had a fucking D in that class. I'm like, well, because we had to read like 6 chapters every 2 weeks. Okay, I didn't. I had a
Jesus,
job. I I was doing
yeah,
school.
you don't got time for that.
Like, yeah, no, I didn't have time to, and I had other classes. Like, I don't have time to read 6 chapters of fucking history every 2 weeks, bro. Like, it didn't
That's
even.
like this.
I hate that kind of stuff because like history had nothing to do with what I was even going to school for. it,
Yeah,
it
this is why like America confuses me because we'd have nothing like that where you can drop classes like in college and stuff like that. Like it's just you're doing what you got sort of thing. Like you got to
do you,
do them all.
so you have to take like they make you take like classes, or do you just take
Yeah.
like
So we got like
so
5 or 6 classes a semester,
did
and
you
we
have
have
to
to do all of them.
did you have to take like a history, a science, and a math and all that bullshit?
No, see, we don't do stuff like that. We did have to do
See, I
law,
wish America didn't do
but
that because college would
yeah, that's
probably be
fair.
so much fucking easier if you didn't because no one wants
Yeah,
to take
it
classes
sounds
that
grim
don't
having to do that.
pertain to their career, bro.
That's the thing. Isn't college supposed to be where you go to do like study the thing you want to study? Like,
Yes!
why are they making you
It
do
makes
stuff like
literally no
that?
sense. Why are your first 2 years nothing but fucking general education? Like what the hell? Like, this should
Like
just
you
be
went
a
to school for
2 year
that.
course at this point.
Yeah, that's insane. They make
Well,
you
it's
pay for all
they
that as
say it's
well.
the first
Crazy.
year, but it's like it's really like it kind of depends. I guess you can get it all done in the first year, but you're probably going to be taking a butt ton of classes if you do that.
So
It
like,
usually takes at least a year and a half to get it all out of them.
so you're saying you can drop. So can you just like say you're given what your history, your maths, your whatever? Can you drop all of them as soon as you get them because you already know you don't want to do them, or do you have to like try?
Well, the thing is, you need them to graduate. So like
Oh,
that's the thing. Like I withdrew history, but I had to retake another history class the next semester.
oh,
So
what?
I mean, it's why I dropped out.
That's so annoying.
Yeah, no, that's why I dropped out and went to a fucking trade, which I don't have a career in the trade I went for, but whatever, you know.
I mean, you're doing better than having to like sit there studying history and stuff like that you don't want to.
Yeah,
Like
no, I'm
that's
glad I didn't waste more money
crazy.
just doing that shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I still
Yeah, no,
wasted
there's nothing
money,
like that
but
here.
whatever, you know.
Like
Yeah,
even when we have
America's
classes we
dumb.
don't want.
America's dumb in a lot of regards, especially the
Yeah,
education and like the legal system.
yeah. The education stuff is kind of just the one thing that does kind of like shock me from over there. Because like over here, like you've got classes that seem a bit weird, but they still somewhat tie in. Like we
Mhm.
had to do law, but it was law for copyright stuff, just so that we knew like trademarks and stuff like that for our own stuff.
Well,
Like,
that makes a lot of
yeah,
sense. So you know, like you at least have prior knowledge to that before you get into all that.
yeah, exactly.
Because if you're going into like film or anything that has to do with art, you never know when you're gonna want to branch out and like do your own thing. Because you may not
Yeah,
like a
for real.
creative, like the creative direction that someone is going, and you're just like, screw this.
Screw this. I'm taking my IP and I'm going home.
Exactly.
Taken.
Exactly. It's a lot of liberties you can take there, so I think it's smart
Yeah.
that they teach you about that stuff.
Like if we're doing history, it's always like film history. It's never just kind of general history.
Yeah,
See,
that makes a lot of sense.
I don't
Like, why do I need to know American history and like world history to do
That's
accounting?
crazy. Like if you wanted to know that, you'd do it in normal school, like in your high
Exactly. Like,
school or
why
whatever.
do I
You
need
wouldn't do it in
to?
college.
I never understood why I needed a history and a science class for like an accounting degree. I'm like, yo, I just need to know numbers, and I already know numbers, so that's why I was doing it.
Yeah. Nah,
Yeah,
that's
but I mean,
that's
looking
that's
back,
wild.
I'm glad I didn't stick it out because honestly, like, even though I'm good with numbers, accounting that would be a miserable job, even though it pays
Yeah.
well. I feel
I know
like that's
some
not
of my
what I.
friends are into that, and I don't think I would like it at all.
It's something I can do. I feel like I'm just good at math, but it's just not fun. It's not what I find fun.
Yeah.
Just because I'm good at it doesn't mean that's what I'm gonna enjoy.
You should make like an accounting YouTube channel. You just
Yeah,
talk
right.
about accounting.
This is how you math, people.
Hey, look, this is you figure out the maths for how much money Roadhouse, the original, made.
Oh, I wonder. Well, the new Roadhouse was just Prime exclusive,
Prime,
wasn't
wasn't it?
it? So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure the original Roadhouse made more box office.
What should it make? I'd say it did pretty well because it's a pretty iconic film.
It is very iconic. How much
Where's
did it
box
make?
office?
Roadhouse.
61 million US dollars.
Damn, that's pretty good for domestic in 1989.
Yeah. Point Break did better though, apparently, according to this. So, what you gonna do there?
Oh, wow, Roadhouse didn't get an international release. It only released in the United States. What?
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
That's insane. I
Because
mean, I
it is
get
a very American film. Like there's a
it's
Roadhouse
yeah.
2.
I was gonna say, I guess it's American classic because like everything I've heard it referenced in is American made, but
Yeah.
most stuff I watch is also American made. So some stuff
They
isn't,
talk
but
they talked about it in Trailer Park Boys a bit, and that's Canadian.
I know they. I used to watch Family Guy a lot growing up, and they had like the
Yeah, I
Roadhouse
remember that.
gag in that. Yeah.
That might be the first place I ever heard about the film,
Oh,
honestly.
me too. Because I watched
Because
Family
I
Guy
still
probably
remember
when I was too young, but
that. Yeah, no, same. Like I watched that a lot, like for years. Like
yeah,
a
I
lot
did
of my
too.
current like movie knowledge came from there, I think.
It's kind of ironic. Like I watched Family Guy when you're quote unquote not supposed to, and then I grew out of it when you're supposed to
Yeah.
apparently watch it. Like I grew out of it when
Weird
I
how it
was like
works like that.
14,
Same, yeah.
and it's
That's probably the
literally
last time I
rated
watched it
TV
though.
14.
It's like, I'm allowed to watch this. I don't really want to.
Because it's I don't know. It's like I don't know. I feel like I could still enjoy Futurama. Like I might rewatch that one day, but like
Futurama is still good. I rewatched that pretty recently.
Family Guy, American Dad, like the type of humor they go for, it's like it's the type of stuff you want to watch before you're actually grown up
Yeah,
because you want to
exactly.
feel grown up. But once you're grown up,
I
it's
also
like
think
this is
like
not grown up.
yeah, with things like those like Family Guy stuff, like the gags always just go on way too long in them.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah, I
watch
agree.
something like there's sometimes like 2 minutes of just a random like clip from a musical or something like that, which like that's not funny. It feels like you're just wasting time, like you're padding for time.
Yeah, sure. Isn't that still going?
Yeah, it
So
is.
how
That Simpsons and American Dad are all still going.
how?
I think it's on well like season 18 now.
I mean, The Simpsons just feels timeless at this point because that's literally been go. Well, I guess Family Guy's been going my entire life too because it debuted like
Yeah,
the 1999
99.
Super Bowl, and I was born at the end of that year. So oh my
They
God,
canceled it
Family
like
Guy
four
is older
times as
than
well.
me. Yeah, they did. They have canceled it a few times. Anyway,
You just
this
stole it. Oh my god, just stole
hey,
it.
this was the Star Trek 2009 episode where we talked about Star Trek 2009 for its 15th anniversary. We also discussed Roadhouse, the original with Patrick Swayze. We discussed, Roadhouse, the remake with Jake Gyllenhaal and everyone's least favorite Irishman, Conor McGregor. Because everyone's favorite Irishman is on the show right now. His name's Connor,
Oh
Class A
hell
food
yeah.
over here. Is there
Heck
anything
yeah.
you want to plug?
My channel. I got some videos on it. That's kind of it. Got yeah. I'm trying to be more consistent with like putting things out because I was taking like 6 months of doing nothing for ages. Like I put like one video every 6 months.
No, I do
But
feel bad
yeah.
about if anyone's listening to the end of this episode, I do kind of feel bad about like my lack of DC content lately because it's kind of what got this channel started. So if you have any
You're
ideas
branching
for
out.
DC videos, just let me know because like I just kind of don't want to make DC videos that people aren't going to watch at this point.
When are
Like
you making a
I just want to
video
do what I
talk?
want to do.
When are you
When
making a video talking about the um the Catwoman film?
I've never seen the Catwoman film, so
Well, you should watch it and you should do a video on it.
If I ever do a video on that, it's gonna be a reaction because I've never seen it, and I
Oh, you
feel
should.
like my reaction it'll be authentic at least because I think the only I've seen a couple scenes from that movie, and one of the only scenes I've seen is her like playing basketball. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, yeah. You know when I first watched it was whenever we did that. Like, remember we did the when we did the old podcast that we did like the bad
Oh
comic book movie one,
man, that was
and
forever ago.
I think I watched it for that. And that was
I
the only
did
time I ever
not
seen
watch it. I know we talked about it, but I did not watch that movie. I hadn't seen Green Lantern at that time either. I've since watched Green Lantern.
Green Lanterns are really bad. I mean, I don't even
It's
think it's
not
bad. It's just
good.
boring. It's really boring.
It's like I don't think I think the actors were trying in it. Like I don't blame any of the actors, but man, just given what the script was, I don't see what they could have done with that movie.
Yeah. Plus, Taika Waititi in that is crazy. Like, this is
Oh,
such a
he's in.
random casting in
I
that.
don't even remember him in that.
I just remembered because the last time I watched it was like after Ragnarok came out, and I was like, oh shit, that's Taika Waititi. Like,
I am
what is
kind
he
of
doing in this?
upset there was never a sequel with Mark Strong as Sinestro, though. I think he would have been great.
That would have been cool. Yeah. That's one of those castings I would like them to continue on in the new stuff if they want to.
Mark Strong's just great in anything he's in.
He is, yeah.
Like I love him in Shazam. I loved him in Kingsman 2. I loved him in the first
Yeah.
Kingsman. I think he's honestly the best part of Kingsman 2, though.
Oh, I think he was well, yeah. Merlin. So good.
Yeah,
This
he's
is his whole sequence there at the end is it's
I know
like
some people don't like that movie, but like
I love that movie.
Merlin saved it for me. Like Merlin is so good in that movie.
I,
I
I
don't
think the
love
film
it, but
for
I
sure
like
goes
it.
too far. Yeah, yeah. I think it goes too far in certain directions, but like when it's good, it's still good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I agree.
It just didn't use Channing Tatum enough in it. They got
Hey,
rid of him like immediately.
well, I wonder if we'll see Channing Tatum in Deadpool 3.
Oh, maybe that'd be cool.
I think it would make a ton of sense. And if we're
Yeah,
ever gonna get Gambit, it's probably gonna be Deadpool 3.
maybe like that's in the contract. It's like, hey, if you'd never make this movie, give me a cameo somewhere.
Maybe, but I don't know. I just know Sean Levy, that's the director of Deadpool 3, right?
Yeah,
He directed
yeah.
Free Guy also, and Channing Tatum was a big part of that, so I'm just kind of
Oh,
hoping they have a close
I
working
completely
relationship.
forgot Tatum was in that.
Yeah,
Damn, I need
yeah.
to rewatch that
So
film. I liked it. Taika Waititi's in that too.
he is, yeah, I remember him in that one. Anyway, that's been it. We're gonna go back into hibernation now.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully be back with some Monkey Man and Jordan Peele talk. If Everest doesn't show back up to work, hopefully me and Connor will be back with Amazing Spider-Man 2
Oh, I'm
for
hyped for
its
that.
10-year anniversary. I'm
Greatest
hyped
film
for
of
it
our
too.
time.
Hyped for the discussion.
It's a good film.